This lesson is on multiplying polynomials. So of course we are going to use the distributive property, and we're just going to make repeated use of that. So for this question, I'm essentially going to take w times all three terms in my second polynomial. And again, if you feel better about it, you may certainly write it out as w times the second binomial, and then minus 1 times the second binomial. I tend to not do that because I'm very lazy, but again, I just took the w and the minus 1 and separated it out. And again, I'm just going to now multiply. This gives me 2w cubed plus 7w squared plus 3w. Be careful on this one, I have a minus 1, so minus 1 times 2w gives me minus 2w squared, and minus 7w, and minus 3. Typically there's a lot of combining like terms that you must do after that first step. So again, I'm going to write my solution in standard form. So I'll write my 2w cubed first, and I'm going to combine 7w squared and minus 2w squared to plus 5w squared. I've got a plus 3 and a minus 7, which gives me minus 4w, and then a minus 3. So that's my final answer. Again, typically when I did this, I would skip this step completely. I would just take the w times all three terms, which would give me the first three terms, and then I would take the minus 1 times all three terms to give me the last three terms, and then combine just as I did. There is another method, and I'm only going to show you one example with this method because I tend not to do it, but you can use the box method where you would create enough boxes for each term. So 2x and minus 5 would go in these two boxes, and it doesn't matter which ones go on the top or the side, it really doesn't matter. Just make sure you have enough boxes for everything. And this one I would put the x squared, I would put a minus x, and I would put a 2. Notice I didn't really put the operation of plus 2, but I did have to keep the negative with the x because it will make a difference. The box method then just says multiply any two values that intersect. So 2x and x squared intersect in this box, which is 2x cubed. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Again, 2x times minus x would be negative 2x squared. These two terms multiply to 5x. This would be 4x, and this would be minus 10. My solution would then be the same. I would just combine like terms. In standard form, I would have 2x cubed first. I would combine these two to get minus 7x squared. I would combine these two to get plus 9x since they were both positive, and then minus 10. So if you find the box method is better for you, go ahead and use that way instead of the repeated distributive property. So I'm going to do these two with you, and we haven't done one like this second example yet, but we're going to go ahead and do the first one together and work through the second one as well. So 2x squared times 3x squared is 6x to the fourth. Distribute to the minus x to get minus 2x cubed plus 10x squared. And now I'm moving on to the plus 4 times everything. So plus 12x squared minus 4x and plus 20. As always, I will have to combine like terms. So 6x to the fourth does not combine with any other like terms. The 2x to the third also does not. These two terms, however, are like terms and will combine to 22x squared. And the minus 4x doesn't combine with anything, and I've got a plus 20. So here is my final answer written in standard form. For my last example, this is 2y minus 1 to the third power, which basically means I've got 2y minus 1 3 times. And when I do that, what I really want you not to do is have a lot of students try to say this is 2y to the third minus 1 to the third, and they tell me the answer is 8y cubed minus 1. And this is not correct. What I'm going to have to do is take two of these binomials and multiply them out, simplify it, and then multiply by the remaining binomial. So I'm going to multiply these two together, which means this one I'm going to keep out front because I haven't used it. I'm going to FOIL this out to get 4y squared minus 2y minus 2y plus 1. I have these two terms that it makes more sense to combine them together before I multiply by the third one. So I'm going to rewrite that polynomial as 4y squared minus 4y plus 1. You can certainly bypass this step if you can do that part in your head. Most of my students do. And then my final step, of course, will be to multiply the 2y times this polynomial. So that gives me 8y to the third minus 8y squared plus 2y minus 4y squared plus 4y and minus 1. And then, of course, combine like terms to get 8y cubed minus 12y squared by combining those two plus 6y and minus 1. If you want to Google something called Pascal's triangle, that's something that would pertain to this particular example. Try this one on your own, then press play to see how you did. Again, I'm going to distribute those values, so that would be 4x to the third plus 12x squared minus 4x, and then minus 2x squared minus 6x plus 2. Negative times a negative makes it positive. Combining like terms, I would get 4x to the third plus 10x squared, combining these two terms, minus 10x plus 2.